Now, the Nio CEO was recently interviewed by Aljazeera, which not only did he indicate that he see 95% or the EV penetration in China reaching 95% by 2030, but he also indicated as to where the EV penetration in China is, which is very important as this shows you of where Nio could be in the near future, which is something that is pretty amazing. So some of you might be asking, why am I wearing glasses today? My left eye has an allergic reaction, so it's a bit swollen, which is why today I decided to put glasses on. Now, without wasting any more of your time, Nio had an interview, or just recently did an interview, I think it was yesterday, with Al Jazeera, where he indicated that the Chinese EV penetration by 2030, he believes that it will go over 95%, which is something that is pretty exciting, because we know that as Nio is one of the leaders of this fast growing EV industry, then this is good news, right? I mean, he indicated that in the last 2 weeks, the penetration of EVs in China has surpassed or did surpass 50%, which that shows you that the kind of deliveries that many EVs were delivering, including Nio in the previous last 2 weeks, were absolutely amazing, were absolutely incredible, which he indicated that he has no doubt that it's going to pass the 50% even on average this year, or by the end of this year the 50% will be maintained, which is something that is pretty exciting. So this simply means that Nio, in terms of delivery, we can safely say that they will continue doing well. In fact, in the last 2 weeks, the CEO confirmed that they did very well, which is why he was able to confidently say that in the last 2 weeks the EV penetration or the EV sales constituted to about 50% or over 50% of the total sales that were being generated in the car industry, which is something that is pretty exciting, and it makes us to also look forward to the NIV insurance registrations tomorrow, and also the total deliveries that Nio is going to deliver or will deliver for the month of July. Based on the videos that we saw trending the streets of social media, it is with no doubt that Nio will sell over 20,000 vehicles still this month, which is something that is pretty exciting. Now, one of the things that so many people are also talking about from that interview is that the Nio CEO did give kudos to the Tesla CEO, Mr. Elon Musk. I mean, he did say that Tesla is an incredible company, and Mr. Elon Musk has done pretty amazing things, some quite number of breakthroughs, which is something that, of course, he gave kudos to that, which is, I think it's pretty amazing to for Nio to acknowledge that indeed, as Tesla being one of the leaders or one of the companies that really had a breakthrough onto EV companies, they deserve a round of applause. I think it is good from a CEO to CEO to, of course, give credit when it's due. But on the other hand, another thing which he said is that Nio is also developing its technology, which will make it to compete pretty well, pretty good, which is something that, of course, it is pretty exciting. I mean, there are so many things that they discuss about that Nio is offering and not being offered by other automakers, like battery swapping stations that Nio is currently deploying, which the CEO indicated that you can be able to swap your battery in 3 minutes, which is absolutely great. Now, when it comes to the charging infrastructure, one thing that the NIO once again stressed is that though they're deploying battery swapping stations, they are also aggressively deploying the charging infrastructures or chargers. He said that they are the company that is deploying most chargers in China at the moment, and they are also a company with more chargers deployed in China, which he indicated that currently they have got over 20,000 charging piles or chargers deployed in China, which makes them also the leader into the company with most charging infrastructure. So this is something that shows you that Nio, when they are doing this thing, when they are aggressive on the deployment of battery swapping station and these chargers, they see the future. The more fast growing EV industry penetrate the car market or the global car market is, the more we're going to see these things in demand, which is why Nio it has been aggressive in terms of deploying these battery swapping stations, in terms of deploying this charging infrastructure. So this interview, I was very excited by some of the things which he said, and you will know that he indicated that the plan is to continue penetrating countries outside of China. They talked about UAE, they talked about the European penetration, which they've already done. They talk about the US penetration, which he said it's still a bit difficult, but he believes that one way or the other they will find a way to penetrate the US, which is something that is pretty exciting, and we look forward to that. Another thing that he unveiled or revealed, which some of you might still don't know, is that Nio currently has a battery swapping station factory in Hungary in Europe, which is the one that is deploying this battery swapping station in Europe. He said that battery swapping station deployment, or making or producing battery swapping station in Europe, it's more expensive than producing or making battery swapping station in China, which I suppose it again sort of like explain why they have not been that aggressive as China, because China, number one, they are selling 97% of their cars are being sold in China, and Europe just account for like 3% of the total sale on a month to month, which therefore it makes sense that they are not as aggressive. But over and above that, they are quite expensive, or it's much more expensive to deploy a battery swap in Europe. But he did say that they are looking at also growing that infrastructure there. So I think Nio, we're going to see them continue deploying more and more battery swapping stations, preparing for the sub brands that are coming. So I'm positive, I remain long and strong, and I think this interview indeed opened up our eyes. I mean, one of the things that again stress is that Nio, though it is not a company that has reached profitability, but this is a company that is quite popular. He did confirm that by saying almost everywhere they not only have so many international institutions coming to invest into Nio, but even the retail investors, they are quite from number of places globally, which shows the presence, which shows the excitement that is around the Nio cars. He said that this is good news, this is great, but for them, whatever they are doing for now, spending an average of 500 million RMB on a quarterly basis under research and development, he believes that that is necessary if they want to remain being relevant. He said that that is necessary as high-end smart EV requires you to be innovative, and your technology must be top-notch for you to remain relevant, which is something that is pretty exciting. I mean, last year he said they spent like $2 billion onto R&Ds, and he believes that though some people might complain, but this is a good move because it gives them an opportunity to better their technology, to improve on their technology, which is very important in this fast-growing EV industry. He also commented about the Chinese government giving a support into this fast-growing EV industry and encouraged other countries to do that, because he said in terms of support, there's no country that has been supportive to the fast-growing EV industries like the Chinese government. And kudos to that, we are seeing the great results, but because of other countries taking a breather or not being aggressive when it comes to this fast-growing EV industry, we are seeing competition not being that much in other parts of the country. It is for that reason we said, even in the US, it is for that reason that they are not selling as many EV cars, because there's not much competition. I mean, as it stands, during that interview, we know that there are around 90 EV companies in China, and all those companies are fighting to get a market share, which is said that the competition in China is very, very fierce, and it needs their company to make sure that technology-wise they are up to date or ahead of time, as that will only be the one thing that attracts or make sure that their customers always come to them to buy the Nio cars. So US, he said that they should be easy and relax, or these other countries that are trying to impose heavy tariffs and try to make sure that Chinese companies don't flood their countries. He said that it's not fair, because China is an open market for all. Everyone can come and compete, European companies, US companies, which he would like to see that happening into other countries which they want to penetrate, like the US, which is something that, of course, it will be absolutely great, because like he said, Nio is a company that is known almost globally, almost everywhere. It's what I've always been saying, to say that almost everywhere globally there will be a group of people, of some people that already know about Nio way before Nio can penetrate those countries. People already know about Nio, which is something that will be also a great success for Nio. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I'd just give you this quick updates. I think that was a great interview. I think it revealed or unveiled some of the good stuff and reminded us why we invest onto Nio. I mean, Tesla is a 20-year-old company and Nio is a 10-year-old company, which shows you that Nio still got some work to do until they catch up to Tesla, as Tesla has got 20 years experience into this fast-growing EV industry and Nio only got 10. But one thing for sure is that we hope to see profitability coming onto this company very soon. I think Nio will achieve profitability sometime towards the end of next year, which will be so amazing and so relieving to the investors, those that are investing onto this stock. Otherwise, do your own DD before you buy Nio for the very first time, as this stock can be quite volatile, and therefore it requires you to at least have done some due diligence so that you don't get to panic sell your stocks too early and regret maybe a couple of months later when you see the share price maybe doubling to where you sold this stock at a loss. So do your own duty so that you are comfortable as you are investing into this stock. And again, this is not professional financial advice. These are just my opinions. So it is always important that you also go and do your own due diligence and consult professionals if you need professional advice. Otherwise, that's all from me, and God bless you all.